Soulja Boy is one of the most influential rappers in hip-hop history. His song Crank That was the first ever song in history to sell over 3 million digital copies and is also the 23rd most successful song of the 2000s. With that success, Soulja Boy not only gained a massive fan base, but also amassed an astonishing $30 million net worth. But with all that money, power, and fame, you're bound to have some roadblocks along the way, and Soulja Boy just so happens to have a few. Soulja Boy has been arrested multiple times throughout his career and has been sued multiple times as well. Want to learn more about Soulja Boy's run-ins with the law? Well, then look no further. Here is an exclusive inside look at the criminal history of Soulja Boy. Soulja Boy's first legal situation took place on December 9th, 2007. This wasn't an arrest or a run-in with the police, but rather a situation that involved Soulja Boy being sued by another Soulja Boy. That's right, Soulja Boy was sued by William Lyons, who's mostly known as Soulja Boy from Mo Thug's family. According to multiple sources, William Lyons sued Soulja Boy for using the stage name that he allegedly created back in 1996. After going back and forth, media outlets reported that William Lyons eventually won his case against Soulja Boy, but it's unknown how much money he received. Soulja Boy was only 17 at the time. Soulja Boy's next legal problem just so happens to be his first arrest. On October 7th, 2009, Soulja Boy was in Atlanta to record a music video for one of his songs on an upcoming album. The location of this music video shoot just so happened to be in an abandoned house that they were not allowed to be in. Somehow, police were notified of this situation and ordered them to stop, otherwise they'd be arrested for trespassing. This must have startled Soulja Boy, because before the police could even finish talking to him, Soulja Boy sprinted away from the police. After a quick little chase, the officer captured the fleeing Soulja Boy and booked him for 1 count of obstruction, which is a misdemeanor in the state of Georgia. Soulja Boy was released moments later on a $550 bond. After Soulja Boy's first arrest, he managed to stay out of trouble for almost 2 years, but in May of 2011, all that changed. According to multiple reports, Soulja Boy had to cancel a performance that he was scheduled to do in Pennsylvania. The promoters were not happy about this, since they'd already wired the money to Big Soulja and insisted that he sends the money back. Soulja Boy allegedly refused to give the money back, but rather promised the promoters that they could reschedule the show for another time. The promoters agreed to this, but didn't hear back from Soulja Boy for months. Since Soulja Boy kept the money and didn't reschedule the show, the promoters sued Soulja Boy for $1 million after failing to make promised payments for the rescheduled concert. No other updates were made in this case. Soulja Boy's next run-in with the law was an arrest that occurred on October 18th, 2011. While riding around with 4 of his friends in Carroll County, Georgia, Soulja Boy was pulled over by police after they noticed that the vehicle had an equipment violation. After being pulled over, the police officer smelled a strong odor of marijuana coming out of the car. This led to the police searching the vehicle and finding over 5 ounces of Crank That OG in the vehicle. Police then arrested Soulja Boy, who was later released on bond the same day. Soulja Boy's next arrest happened on January 22nd, 2014 in San Fernando Valley, California. Sources say that Soulja Boy was a passenger in his own car when the driver of the vehicle ran a stop sign. After running the stop sign, Soulja Boy's car was immediately pulled over. Once pulled over, something odd must have happened because the police officer was able to search the vehicle. Upon searching the vehicle, the officer discovered a loaded handgun hidden under the seat. Soulja Boy was then arrested and taken to jail on the spot. Soulja Boy's manager soon spoke out about Soulja's arrest, claiming that a neighbor left the gun under his seat and that Soulja Boy was unaware that he was even there. Soulja Boy also denied every accusation against him other than the fact that he owned the vehicle. Regardless, Soulja Boy was convicted and sentenced to 2 years of probation. Soulja Boy stayed out of trouble for a good while after being sentenced to probation, but at the end of 2016, Soulja Boy started to go wild on social media. Soulja Boy would go back and forth with other rappers on Twitter and Instagram and even release diss tracks on other rappers as well. Soulja Boy's online antics were him just basically threatening anyone who talked to him, and his main threat was always involving something bad happening with his weapon of choice, the Draco, which ended up being the birth of Soulja Boy's new nickname and alter ego, Big Draco. This eventually all came to an end when the judge became aware of these threats and sent police to do a checkup on him. During the checkup, police found multiple weapons in Soulja Boy's home. This was a clear violation of his probation, but the judge was nice enough to extend his probation instead of putting Soulja Boy in jail. After the extension of his probation, Soulja Boy soon began to take it easy and slowly fade out of the limelight. But this didn't last too long, because at the end of 2018, Soulja Boy began to make media headlines for his controversial Soulja game consoles that he sold on his website. With his name back in the headlines, Soulja Boy began to get a little wild on social media again, and eventually became pretty mainstream again after his viral interview on The Breakfast Club. This lasted for about 3 months before Soulja Boy had another visit from the police at his Malibu mansion. During the visit, police searched the home and found ammo in Soulja's garage. Soulja Boy was then arrested for another probation violation and was forced to stay in jail until his bail hearing. At his bail hearing on April 30th, 2019, Soulja Boy was denied bond and sentenced to 240 days in jail, and is currently behind bars at the time of this recording. Now, I was gonna call it a video, but then I remembered the legendary DJ Vlad interview where Soulja Boy talked about shooting a gun at guys who were robbing his home, and instantly knew that all the comments were gonna be people telling me how I forgot to mention it, so I figured I would just quickly break down that situation for you guys. Also, I want everybody to keep in mind that no police report was made about this incident, and there's little to no evidence to prove that this happened the way that Soulja Boy claims it did. But anyway, on December 30th, 2008, Soulja Boy and his friends came home late at night after an album release party. Upon arriving home, Soulja Boy and his crew went into his home studio to start recording when 3 masked men broke into Soulja Boy's house. The men allegedly had AK-47s and pistols and were threatening everyone in the house. Soulja Boy then quickly grabbed his own gun and shot one of the guys while the others ran away. Soulja Boy then allegedly went up to the guy that he had just shot and took off his mask. Soulja then claimed to recognize the guy and shot him again. Soulja Boy wouldn't confirm or deny if the guy lived or not. Once again, take this with a grain of salt. No real police report was ever found on the situation, and everyone that was involved seems to have a different story of what actually happened on that night. Well, there you have it, the entire criminal history of Soulja Boy. If you enjoyed this video, then make sure to leave a like and hit that subscribe button to see more videos just like this one in the future. Also, feel free to hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we upload. If you have any suggestions on who we should do a criminal history video on next, then make sure to comment down below. That's all I have for today. I'm out.